here today. May I know what your name is?
I can't, something.
You are married Welly.
Yes.
I heard that you were the engraver here in Tiffin.
I can't, I have trouble understanding him. Is it my hearing aid?
No, it's okay.
I heard that you were the engraver here in Tiffin.
Yes.
How long were you the engraver here for?
So maybe how long have I lived here?
Yes, ma'am.
I've lived here actually for 70 years. When I got married, I moved to Tiffin.
Really?
Yes.
How long have you been married?
I was married to my husband for 70 years before he passed away.
Oh, it's good to hear. Have you ever ran into any interesting events while you were in Tiffin?
Any events?
Anything interesting that you might think of?
Oh, nothing special. We started a business, my husband and I, after we had been married for 13, 14 years. We sold monuments for in the local cemeteries, and it grew to quite a nice business, which my youngest son now runs. And you'll have to ask me questions. How long?
Were you the owner of the engravers, Welly's?
Welly's Monument. How long did you own the company?
Did I work at the company?
Own it. Own it.
What did I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, my youngest son was 6 weeks old when we decided to go into this business. So naturally, I was right there from the very start. I learned how to, not engrave them, but how to design them. And it built very well, very fast. And it's now still, and the youngest son does it. But it was an experience, and our family grew very well with it. So we just kept going. And he worked until he was 65, and then our family helped us turn it over. And it's still going full force.
Good. What changes in the company were you a part of over the years?
Did I do, or
Just in general.
just me? I did a lot of the bookkeeping.
Okay.
And I also helped whenever we had a truckload coming in. I would help unload, and I would help reload, and when we got to the cemetery, I could help push them to the spot where they were to be erected. It was quite an experience to learn how to handle them, because you didn't want to chip it. If you did, you were done. So outside of that, I guess just hard work.
Okay. What have been the challenges of owning a gravestone business?
The challenges,
Yes, ma'am.
honesty would be the main one, I think, and just do good work.
Okay. Okay. What all does Welly's Monuments do for the Tiffin community?
For the Tiffin people, well, we design fairly beautiful headstones, monuments, and he has the business now out on 224, at 18 and 224, and he helps with things like that. I no longer have a whole lot to do with it, so it has changed, somewhat.
Okay. Do you have a specific memory while working there that really stuck out to you?
Oh, probably there'd be several of them, but you had to have a lot of muscle to begin with, and you had to know how to push and pull. Outside of that, now it has gotten to the point where there's a lot more mechanical involved in it. So I'm no longer familiar with a lot of that because it has been a few years. Actually 20.
20 years.
I haven't done anything else in that long period.
Okay. How did you and your husband meet? Because I remember that you guys were married for 70 years.
70 years, yes. I don't know, we just got along good. He wouldn't argue with me is one thing. I think if I got a little bit off record or something, he would just go down to his workshop in the basement and shut the door and let me get over it, so to speak. That was we never fought as far as, he's never left me, I never left him or anything like that.
Okay.
And we did build a house in between there, literally build it.
You built a house.
You don't just sit down and do nothing if you want to get ahead in the world. So.
Is the house still here in Tiffin?
Oh, yeah, the house is still standing, but when I came here then, they didn't want me to stay alone after my husband passed, and so we ended up selling the house, and it's still standing and doing very well. It's on the corner of Space Street and Winfield Drive, if you know any area of Tiffin.
Okay, okay.
It's just a house.
What was it like for you growing up here in Tiffin?
I did not grow up in Tiffin.
Oh, you didn't grow up in Tiffin?
I grew up on a farm in Wyandotte County.
Okay.
My parents were farmers, and during the Second World War, my oldest brother, I was the second in the family, and my oldest brother was drafted, and so naturally, we milked cows, and all kind of things like that on the farm. I could drive the tractor, I could drive the horses, I could do anything that I had to in that respect. I just stepped into my older brother's chores, you would say.
Okay.
That was way back in 1944
Wow.
is when I graduated from high school.
Thank you for the interview.
He's thanking you for the interview.
Sorry.
Did that make sense?
Yes.
Did I?
Yeah.
I could go on into things that happened during this Second World War that you probably have never heard of. But when I graduated from high school, I got a job in a defense factory in Fostoria. And money was the thing, So we would, the women who we worked with, when the trains would stop just outside of the factory door, this is no longer there, but the soldiers that would be on these trains going, they would throw apples and oranges at us, and things like that. And I worked there as long as the war was going on. That's where I met my husband after that. And just normal life, I guess. But during the war, we did without a lot of things. Shoes were rationed. If you needed a pair of work shoes, you had to get a ticket from a paper from where you were working and then take it to the shoe store and get to the shoes. Gas was rationed. You could have the normal I think the normal amount, if I can remember right, was 3 gallon. If you had a little, what did they call them? There was a paper that was filled out with your name, address, your car, license number, and all that stuff on. And you had to have that in order to get your gas, unless you knew the filling station operator very well. And they're just things like that, so we did. I don't know, it just, what else would I get into? But it has been a long life for me. I'm 92 years old.
92.
So maybe I talk too much.
No, you were perfect. Thank you for the interview.